Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's workshop session on Beyond Titles, Thriving Beyond Job Titles, which is brought to you by our Employability and Upskilling project at Blossom LGBT. My name is Steph. I'm the project manager of the Employability and Upskilling project and mentorship scheme at Blossom. And for your reference, I use the he, him pronouns. Tonight, we are embarking on a transformative journey to reshape our understanding of work and personal values. While work can undoubtedly be a meaningful aspect of our lives, it is essential to remember that it's not the sole determinant of our values as human beings. In tonight's session, we will delve into the profound notion that our worth extends far beyond the confines of professional titles. We will explore innovative ways to redefine value outside of work, enriching our lives with a deeper sense of purpose and fulfillment. Throughout this workshop, we will embark on a journey of self discovery and empowerment, embracing practical and creative approaches to cultivate a profound sense of self worth and well being in both our work and job seeking experiences. Imale, who will introduce themselves in a minute, is not just our host for the evening, but an artist, entrepreneur, and the visionary founder of Novu, a sensual wellness company dedicated to nurturing holistic well-being. With a profound background in facilitating transformative group sessions for gender identity charities and crafting programs for marginalized communities, Imale brings a wealth of experiences and empathy to our gathering tonight. So, let's embark on this journey together as we discover the boundless possibilities of thriving beyond titles. And please remember to scan the QR code on the screen for any questions and comments you may have throughout the session. And you have the option to remain anonymous as well. Imale, I will leave this to you.
Hey, thank you, Steph. So welcome to Beyond Titles. So today we'll be exploring things around how do we nurture relationships, pursue passions, and prioritize self-care, leading to an enhanced resilience, creativity, and overall happiness. Um, so we'll start. So this is welcome to a workshop about working that is not focused on work itself, right? Because it's looking at who are we, who are we outside of this idea of what work and what we do for work, and if we're searching for work, etc., etc., etc. So get comfortable, and we'll start with a meditation. We'll start with a meditation that will allow us to just arrive in a space together, and then we can go through the workshop. So hopefully the audio meditation can be played. Hi, Steph. Sorry. If you could just play the audio for me, please. Okay, we're having a bit of an issue with the audio. So what I'll do is I'll quickly just set it up really quickly, and I will just do a really quick guided meditation that we can do together to arrive. Just bear with me one moment. What's a workshop without a few tech issues, right? Sorry, just bear with me. Okay, right. Steph, just could you let me know if you can hear the music, please? If you can hear the audio. Okay, wonderful. So I've just got green light that you could hear the audio. Right. So what I'll do is, if you could just take a deep breath in and just allow it to fill up your whole body. And then take a deep exhale out. Sigh out through your mouth. If we do 3 of those, a deep breath in, feel how your chest rises, feel how your body is responding to that breath. Just watch your body as it responds to that breath. And exhale out. And what we're doing here by breathing like this is just becoming intentional with our breath. Oftentimes, when we're going about our days, we don't get a chance to breathe so deeply. So, this is just allowing us to arrive into our bodies. Even as you breathe, recognize yourself for being the resilience that has allowed you in this moment. Um, Allow yourself to see the strength that has brought you to this moment in that breath, because actually only you know everything that's taken for you to be here today, here in this workshop, here in today, here, just here. So this is a moment through that breath to just hold yourself in that way, to just recognize yourself and all the efforting that you've done and you do, that not everyone is able to recognize, or that you don't always communicate to other people. So just allow yourself to deeply arrive. And if you find any tension in your body, just send a little care that way. Don't judge the tension, don't question it, don't ask it why it's there. Just send some kindness to it. And just recognize that all that you do in your trying is enough in this moment, in whatever way that you've arrived to this workshop. Just allow yourself to arrive in whatever state. And then what we'll do is we'll slowly start to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. And slowly start coming back into the room. Wonderful. Pardon me. Okay. And so now that we've done the meditation, hopefully we've arrived at a place of compassion for ourselves, and kindness for ourselves as well, so that we can power through the workshop together, and the day and the week. And yeah, so my name is Imale. My pronouns are they, them. And I'm all about creativity, embodiment, and authentic connections. What that means is basically I want to connect with people in ways that go beyond just the everyday. I want the connections with people that I have to be built on what me and that person connect on, what that person connects, that brings to the space, what I bring to that space, and that to be the authentic space that we connect from. I've been working since I was 14. I've worked in every type of role. In a lot of roles, I've worked in a lot of different working conditions. And a boring fact outside of work is that I really enjoy transport history. I will sit and watch transport history videos and research for as a way to like unwind. It's, yeah, it's fun. Okay, so here, if you could just start to think about who you are, what's your name and your pronouns, what's your work history, and what's a boring non-work related fact about you. I think when we're coming into a space like this, I think we should always have awareness of what we're trying to do. So we're looking at our work history, right? We're looking at our work conditions, so we can bring that to the forefront, and then also being aware that there's more to us outside than just work, than just thinking about who we are in a working context. And if anyone wants to share who they are through the QR code over there, please do feel free to share, and then we can read it out as we go through. Okay, so there's many reasons why we go to work, for sustenance, for having a living, for having a purpose. You know, everyone has their own reasons beyond the reasons of having to afford the basic necessities of life. There's many reasons that people are motivated to work. There's many motivations that people have for working. Some people, outside of I work to pay the bills, life becomes their work purpose. Their work life becomes their life purpose rather than a work purpose. And this is how they this is it. There's as many reasons, as many reasons for working as there are many reasons of many types of jobs, right? So from a young age, we're taught to prioritize education and careers, believing that success in these areas defines our value. It's deeply ingrained in our societal norms, where hustle is glorified and personal achievements are equated with personal worth. Our motivations for work can be both intrinsic, like a sense of accomplishment, and purpose, and extrinsic, like money and recognition. Work is not just about individual fulfillment. It also shapes social hierarchies and power dynamics. It's influenced by our cultural norms, politics, and economics systems, and a way to express values, contribute to a greater good, and finding meaning and purpose in life. So this emphasis on ambition and productivity can lead us to prioritize work above everything else. And you can see this in the way that, when you meet people for the first time, one of the first things, apart from what's your name, is what do you do, right? And that's a very uncomfortable question, because actually, I've met you at an event for skydiving. What does what I'm doing, what I work as, have to do with who I am, right? Um, Another way of rephrasing that question could be, oh, what do you do in your free time? I think that gives us, when we ask someone that, or when we're asked that, it allows us to think of ourselves in a bigger way, like, oh, actually, what do I enjoy? And start that connection from there, talking about the things um that you enjoy. So what's personal value? Every person brings a unique set of skills, interests, and life experiences that contribute to a sense of self-worth and to their work. Identifying these values demands introspection and honesty, both of which require considerable effort. While our past experiences may influence our personal values, we also have the agency to decide which values to prioritize or discard in our personal lives. Through introspection, we may discover that certain values hinder our progress or strain our relationships. For instance, values centered solely around money and status may lose their appeal if they contribute to a sense of um, perpetual competition and distract from other meaningful aspects of our careers and even just our lives. I think it's always important that throughout what we're doing, we're able to look at where we are and say, am I happy here? What are the things that I can do to move from here? Or how did I get in this situation in the first place so that I can move forward? And I think by looking at what the values we hold are, we can start to have that conversation that can lead to transformation, or moving from situations that we don't necessarily feel fulfilling to us, Um, yeah. So when we redefine our values, it allows us to reflect on our experiences, our beliefs, our strengths and weaknesses. Um, these exercises, I think exercises where we're looking at our strengths especially, can be really empowering. We don't often stop to look at, okay, what have I achieved? To look at ourselves from a point of strength first, and then from there starting to build up, okay, what are my weaknesses? Now that this is what I know I'm very good at, this is what I'm confident in, and then start to look at what are my weaknesses, what are my beliefs that can help to work on those weaknesses, and how do I then change what my beliefs are? How do I start to change that? So reflecting is asking yourself questions. Some of the questions will be uncomfortable, but the efforting that comes from that, the answers that come from that, can really help us. Um, Identify your core values by examining what principles guide your decisions and your actions. We can look at the patterns within our lives, what's coming up often, and how do I make these decisions, and why am I making these decisions? And you look at, okay, this is what my core values are, and this is what I'm doing that's outside of that. Uh, Pardon me. Um, They allow us to evaluate how well our current lifestyle, behaviors, and choices align with our identified values. Sometimes it's very easy for us to be stuck in a cyclical kind of situation where we might not be happy, but we don't know what to do. So we then keeps changing. We just keep in that cycle, not knowing, okay, what or where does change need to come in, and evaluating that and looking at, okay, well, if I want to change this, but every weekend I'm doing this, which contradicts with that, how can I change it? And even understanding through that evaluation what your why is. Why do you want to evaluate it? Why do you want to redefine your values? Um, that gives a very good foundation to, if you do fall off on this journey, you can then come back with compassion back to self. It allows you to challenge societal norms or expectations that don't resonate with your authentic self, and allow to explore new perspectives and possibilities. Again, that whole thing of just doing things because it's the cultural norm, it's expected norm, when actually it's not something that actually feels good for you. So redefining our values, looking at them head on, allows us to be like, okay, actually this one is not really something, and a norm or expectation that I've placed on myself, or even this idea of like, um, what society deems as success is one thing, but actually what do you deem as success, and challenging all of that. So if for you success looks like taking 3 naps in the day, but we live in a society where it's like sleep is for the weak, how are you going to challenge that? How are you going to face that? How are you going to comfortably land in a place where you can do that? Um, Treat yourself with the same compassion and understanding you would offer to a friend. We have to be a good friend to ourselves. It's very imperative, because actually, like I said earlier, only you know what it takes for you to be you. And when you're able to give your friends, the compassion that you're not able to give to your friends, it's a bit like, so how come that you're deeming them worthy but not you as worthy, right? And I think this is where community for me comes in when we're redefining our values, because the community should your community should teach you how to be able to be compassionate to yourself, right? By holding up mirrors to show you sides of yourself that you're not able to see by yourself. So by them showing you those sides of you, they're showing you new ways of loving you as well. And so you can learn from that, and learn from that how to start being compassionate, and how to start being more understanding for yourself. Because you can't believe that, if you assume that the other works from their best intention, you also have to believe that you yourself also work from your best intention and treat yourself as such as well. Uh, and also, finally, share your journey of self discovery with others who can provide encouragement, perspective, and advice, which basically leads on to, which basically the community comment segues into, because again, the community the community is supposed to hold you, and you're supposed to hold others within the community, so that it's always awesome. Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone have any reflections or anything that they would like to share in the chat or anything like that? Okay, so I'd had on here a breakout rooms bit where we'd think about what personal values are, where do they come from, uh, yeah, where what are personal values are, where they come from. So on, I realized that um, what your personal values are, where they come from. So personal values come from where you grew up, so your family, where you went to school, where you went to work, the people that you spend a lot of time with, the people that even like your online communities, etc., etc., etc. So I've made a list here of some examples of what personal values can be. So empathy, this is how you relate to other people. Um, integrity, compassion, honesty, authenticity, respect, responsibility, creativity, independence, gratitude, perseverance, courage, generosity, growth, and harmony. So these are just a few of the things that we can think about when we think about what we want for our personal value. And this is not an extensive list at all, but just a starting point for when we're thinking about what we want to add to our what we want to add to our existing list of personal values, and what we want to amend from that as well. Um, so why do we nurture self worth? Gosh, the English just completely. So we nurture self worth so that we're able to persevere through challenges, setbacks, and rejections. You know, when you're working, you're faced with challenges all the time, whether it's the challenges and rejections of looking for work, of the interview process, of the challenges of not getting on with your management, of a toxic work environment, you know. And sometimes it's not always easy to say that because this is toxic, I'm going to leave here and now immediately, you know. When we nurture our self-worth, we're able to say, I am separate from this thing. I can recognize that this is not great, but this is not all that I am. So we can push through, and until we're able to get out of there safely, um, until we're able to get into the next stage safely, and then we're able to, and we assert your needs and set boundaries and communicate effectively, because now you're able to trust that actually I am worthy of setting boundaries. I can set my boundaries. I can communicate this effectively, and even get to a point of like, if you communicate your needs, being okay with the fallout of that, you know, um, and being able to say no comfortably when we're at work, or even yes comfortably, to be honest, because sometimes you can't either which way. So when we nurture our self-worth, we commit ourselves to a continued learning and advancement, and we grow confidence and resilience in the face of rejection or competition as well. So it's we do all of these things so that we're able to move through the reality that actually sometimes work is not great. Sometimes work is something that takes away more than it gives to us. But then we also recognize that our working situations and we don't exist within that, we like in a silo. So when we nurture our self-worth, it's just so that we can recognize that our working conditions don't have to be the detriment of us, because we spend a lot of time at work, whether it's from the time that, whether if you're looking for jobs, you're searching a lot of the time, you're putting a lot of time and energy into that. When you're at work, from the time that you're commuting to the time that you're coming back, you spend a lot of time there. So how do you fortify? This is when we nurture our self-worth, it's just making sure that we fortify ourselves so that we can do this, we can push through this, because ultimately, regardless, regardless, for many, we still have to work. For many, we still have to do this thing. For many, until we have other options, there aren't other options, right? And this is when we nurture our self-worth, it's not to say that that means that we just have to take um, negative or bad work conditions and just accept them. No, we nurture them so that we can say no, so we can make those boundaries a lot more stronger. So we can set them a lot stronger. So one of the things that we can do within this is we can start to get hobbies. We can start to get hobbies, and when we think about hobbies, what can hobbies be? Hobbies can be anything where we're able to arrive and just play, right? Alive and without the pressure of it being one way or the other, without it being perfect, um, without it being a set way. So that could be painting, that could be sports, that could be writing, that could be anything. And from this, you can get a sense of achievement, um, expression of individuality. You can get some positive feedback, because if you've got a hobby that starts from you not being able to do this thing, and through that consistency, you get that positive feedback because you're changing something within that. Then you got personal growth, you get connection with others, purpose and meaning, and stress and relief, and sense of contribution. Especially when we're able to create that time just outside of work, I think it's very important to have things that can recharge us. From our hobbies, we can find community of people who are also going through things that are similar to us. Um, and even find people who are going through things similar to us, or people that enjoy the same things that we do, and get access to community in that way. And also volunteering as well is a good thing to is yeah volunteering as well is a really good way of having hobbies, that you can find something that's very specific that you enjoy doing, and find the community around that and doing that, just as a way to supplement some of that feeling that work doesn't always provide, or even just looking for work doesn't always provide. Pardon me. Okay, so I wrote us an affirmation, and basically what affirmations are is things that we can say to ourselves, whether daily, to remind ourselves or even bring ourselves back to a point of recognizing what we are worthy of. It's like calling in goodness. And so an affirmation for work that I thought we could bring and think about is, I deserve safe and empowering work conditions, no matter my circumstances. I acknowledge my worth and advocate for respect and opportunities in all work places. So if you wanted to write that down and just have that in your mind when you're looking for work, or when you're at work and thinking, oh my gosh, what is even this? And just remembering that regardless of what those work conditions are, you are worthy of seeking out and finding and having and safe and empowering work conditions that nurture you and nourish you and grow you as well. So that's me. I was just, if you've got questions or feedback, please use the QR code on the screen and then we can bring them into the chat and talk about them. Otherwise, that's me done. Okay. We're just waiting for some questions. I just loaded. Okay, so we've got a question, and the question is: I'm finding it hard to live with compassion and empathy with everything that's going on in the world. I'd like to have these values, but I just don't. Thank you for the question, and thank you for being honest in the question as well, because the truth is, in reality, there's a lot going on in the world, and it's out of everything that's going on, you want me to start thinking about work. And when you're at work, you're thinking about all of this, and I understand and get what you're saying when you do this, when you say this. And I think this is why it's really important that we are kind enough to ourselves to start to carve out these values, whether it's getting in community with people. I think now more than ever, it's important for us not to lose hope. Um, because I don't know if you, the meme with the dog in the house, with the cartoon dog in the house on fire, that comes to mind. Like, it's everything's on fire and we're like, oh, that's fine. But this is, we need community, we need each other, but we also need to do this from a place of knowing what are we bringing to this community, what are we bringing here, and it's bit by bit, we can only start being compassionate small and small and small, and then letting it grow to encompass us, and then be able to then bring it out, because now more than ever, there's a lot going on. There really is, and we have to carve out that kindness for ourselves first. We have to be empathetic for ourselves, because actually there's a lot of grief, and we have to recognize and be honest with ourselves with what we're carrying. Pardon me. What we're carrying first. Um, yeah, I hope that answered the question. Okay. So the next question is, how can I navigate conversations about my worth with friends or family who primarily define success by job titles and career achievements? I think that the truth is, it will be uncomfortable at first, because you're going to need to steer the conversation every time it's about job titles or career achievements. You're going to have to change the conversation into it being something else, and sometimes that can feel really abrasive, that can feel like you're going against the grain. But it's really important, because instead of, say for instance, instead of going on about, oh yeah, this, obviously sometimes you do need to talk about with your friends and your family what happens at work. You do need to do that sometimes. But what I'm saying is, when it's not a situation like that, and it's just the conversation is like, what you do, and you have to be abrasive. How can you cut it with something else? What brings something else that is going to cut through the noise of those achievements, if that makes sense? So maybe maybe you went to see art, you went to see a theater play or whatever, you went to see a show. Talk to them about that. Talk to them about things outside of work. Talk to them, just bring it into the conversation. Bring all of those other things into the conversation with the same enthusiasm. But then also be kind to yourself, because again, even you're just trying to understand how to navigate this, so you're going to get it wrong, and that's okay too. Yeah. Yeah. I hope that that also answered your question. Yeah. Just yeah, just always driving the conversation outside to something else. I think it's really important. And it might feel silly actually, because sometimes it's also like, okay, what do I actually have to talk about outside of work? And it's also getting yourself to start to think about yourself outside of those, right? And sometimes it can be a bit scary, because it's like, okay, what? Because what we know is our titles, what we know is the things that we've been taught to constantly chase after. So yeah, it'll be uncomfortable, but it's a nice transformation. Okay, so the next question is, I want to change my career because I'm not happy with it, but I'm so scared with this step because I think I'll lose my sense of identity with this change. Any advice? Um, what I'll say with that is that before any job, before anything, you're there, So while I empathize deeply with the fact that you're feeling like this, but it's only when you try and give yourself a chance can you actually, you have to give yourself a chance. Because if you're not happy with it now, are you content enough to sit in that unhappiness and kind of sit in the, oh, what if sitting in that space of what if is more painful than you actually going to get that career change, because whatever you think you're going to lose, what about all the things that you're going to gain within the journey? What about all the things that will come along by you being courageous enough and saying, okay, I'm really not happy, I'm going to change? What can you gain from that? I think, while yes, there's going to be the idea of loss and the feelings of loss, I think there's more space, more opportunity for a what if to be, okay, what if I really like this new thing? What if I get so challenged that anything that I thought was impossible, I've now challenged, like shattered everything I thought I couldn't do, yeah. Is the unhappiness bigger than the fear? Are you so, are you so unhappy that the fear can come and like make you smaller? Or are you so unhappy that you can look at the fear and be like, actually, I'll face you. Like, my unhappiness is so big that I need to face the fear, and also trust in yourself, because you've made it this far. Even with a job change, with a career change, you make it even further. So yeah. Hope it was helpful. Okay, we've got another one here. um, I'm struggling to stay true to my values and priorities without the pressure of conforming to societal norms. I don't know what my question is, but I just wanted to put it out there and hear thoughts. Thank you for sharing this. I think what we don't often talk about with what it means to be conforming to societal norms when we choose to not conform is the loneliness and the kind of isolation that can come from that, you know? And so you feel forced to conform because actually you don't want to be isolated. You don't want to then be lonely. I'm not assuming that you're lonely. I'm just recognizing some of the pressures that come with some of the pressures that come with remaining conformed to things that don't always feel good. Um, but sometimes I think that when we're not being true to ourselves, that does us more harm than when we're kind of doing things because it's kind of the societal expectations that we're allowing to dictate how we're doing things. Um, Even when I say that, I really not taking it lightly, because actually sometimes we have to draw a line in the sand and say, this is too much. My values, I have these, my values and priorities are there for a reason, for a purpose. And actually, I'm worthy of protecting my values, and these things are in place for a reason. And obviously, not obviously, but values can grow and change with us. These things are not static, but they must be helpful to us. And if we're not, if they're stifling us more than they're growing us, we have to say, who am I putting first? You know, these people who are not with me when I'm struggling, when I'm not feeling great, when this, these people who aren't fully able to hold me or myself. And, you know, recognizing that if a period of loneliness does come with you setting those boundaries in place of being like, okay, I can't, this is too far, I've gone too far, there's also kind of a hope that comes with seeking out community, seeking out going to places and things that hold our values and priorities to the same degree. It doesn't necessarily have to look the same, but to the same degree that you do yours, you know? Um, I don't know if that, I mean, there wasn't a question, but I hope that basically what I'm trying to say is that your values and your priorities are yours for a reason. You have to protect them, and you can't allow yourself to allow the idea of loneliness. It's not even an idea, because sometimes it is very real, to let you betray yourself in that way. Yeah. I yeah. Okay. This is feedback, not a question. I just wanted to say to everyone here that I learned that I'm not trying to change the world. I'm just trying to better myself and be a good person despite the world and all that's happening in it. I care about the world, not changing whatever good there is in me. Um, I care about the world, not changing whatever good there is in me more than I care about changing others to accept me. I hope this can come as a bit of a perspective to live by for anyone else here. Yeah, absolutely. I think you shouldn't ever try to change the world. There's so much within the world that is outside of your control that it's futile to sit here and say that I want to change the world. It's a nice idea. It's a wonderful idea, actually. But the truth is, we can only change ourselves. And then we can show up in spaces that hold space for that change, where that change can then change other people, and that change like that, rather than sitting here and say that, oh, yeah, I'm changing the world. I think it's easy for us to kind of make martyrs of ourselves. And actually, if we start by just ensuring that we're okay, we look at there's that saying about a plank in someone's eye. Yeah, that. Okay, and I think that was the last question. Yeah, I think that was the last question. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I hope that there was something of value that you were able to take out of this, and something that you were able to learn from it. It's our personal value extends beyond our professional identities, and no matter how difficult it gets, you're worthy of advocation and you're deserving of all that you desire. And yeah, so if you want to join or follow on Instagram, the at is at Mafuta Oil. My name is Imale, and I've left my details. I've also got a QR code that you can scan for feedback that you'd like to share. And thank you for taking the Wednesday evening out to come and join us. And we really appreciate you being here. And thank you very much. Steph, sorry, I can't hear you.
I just realized I was still muted. All right, I made myself laugh there. All right, cool. I was just really, I started just by thanking you first. This was really nice. I'm still processing everything you've said and the questions. There was some deep questions there. Thank you everyone for sharing all of these thoughts. And well, as we're closing, just gonna thank everyone for joining us tonight for this Beyond Titles, Thriving Beyond Job Titles workshop. It's really been an incredible journey exploring the depths of personal value and well-being beyond the constraints of professional roles. Um, as we're closing, let's maybe carry forward the insights and inspiration that we've gained tonight. And I would say, remember, your worth extends far beyond any job title or career path. There's so much more to life, as Imad has been saying. Embrace the unique qualities that make you who you are and nurture the relationships, especially the ones that you have with yourself. Imali, a heartfelt thank you to you for guiding us with your compassion, your empathy, and the wisdom that you have. And to all of you participants, I thank you for your openness and for your engagement, your honesty with the questions. Um, I think that we're taking steps forward to a more fulfilling and empowered life. Before we conclude, remember that learning doesn't end here. Please feel free to reach out to us with any questions, reach out to Mali with any questions. And your feedback is really essential to us. This is our opportunity to learn from your feedback. So please take a moment to share your thoughts and suggestions so that we can um, uh, take that into consideration as well. Follow us on Instagram, on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Eventbrite to keep updated with our upcoming events. You can also sign up to our mailing list for anyone out there who likes to make candles and essential oils. We've got a workshop on Saturday. Look that up on Eventbrite. Also hosted by Imale. Yay. Um, I would also like to highlight our mentorship scheme for queer youth, where we provide support for personal growth and professional growth. Sorry. Whether you're interested in being a mentor or mentee, reach out for more information. Finally, let's continue to support each other on this journey of self discovery and growth. Until we meet again, remember to thrive beyond titles and embrace the fullness of who you are. Good night and take care. Thank you, everyone.